I wanted to do a quick review today on a company called Solavei. If you've been on Twitter, Facebook, any of the social media channels, you've undoubtedly been hearing a little bit about Solavei. If you found this video, you found on YouTube. And I wanted to do a quick review to tell you why is there so much hype around Solavei. It is one that's going to gravitate, or the network marketers will gravitate towards. But I want to kind of cut to the chase and tell you whether or not it's fact or fiction, or just quite frankly just a bunch of nonsense. And I want to talk about what do I know about the wireless industry, and why am I qualified to talk about Solavei the way I'm going to do on this video. I started in the communications industry back in 1995, and we sold Dish Network, DirecTV, pagers, and wireless phones for Cellular One and US Cellular many years ago when the phones were huge. And then in 1998, this kind of changed my career. Nextel launched, and I started a little company called All Things Wireless. I became the #1 Nextel agent in Tennessee 44 months in a row. I was one of the leaders in the Southeast. I won numerous awards as a broker for Sprint, AT&T, Bell South, and Singular. There was lots of mergers and acquisitions. We grew to 9 stores. I had outside sales agents, and I even started a little franchise model for business partners that wanted to go out and start their own business, but would work with me on a little advertising program that we had. But then in 2006, I sold my business for a variety of reasons. There was tons of competition. There was a cellular store on every street corner, and there was a decrease in commissions and residuals. One day they came in, and with one of my carriers, I was making close to $20,000 in residuals. And in one night, in a pen stroke, they came in and said, your residual is going to be cut to $11,000 a month, which is good for most people, but when you have 9 stores and you're depending on that income, it's a severe blow to your overall compensation. There was a consolidation of carriers. The company started focusing on exclusivity, so you really had to pick who you wanted to run with, whether it was AT&T, Nextel. They didn't want you to broker like we used to, and that was the secret of our business. And the reason why, there was no loyalty from consumer to carrier. There was a cap on residual income, and just all kinds of restrictions based on churn, and a lot of things that we didn't have to deal with in the beginning. The commissions, like I said, were cut literally 50% in most cases, and they've gone down even today. And the reason why is because it's become a commodity product. At the time, we had no value. When we came into the consumer, Verizon is Verizon, AT&T is AT&T. And then I found out a little bit about deregulation in the wireline and the telecom industry, and just to be quite frank, it was time for me to make a change. I wanted to take a minute and talk about the big 4, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile, and pose the question whether it's a good time to start a business in the cellular and wireless industry. Let's talk about the market share. There's $166 billion spent on cellular and wireless in the United States just in 2011. There's over 300 million users in the United States, and there's approximately 100 million for both AT&T and the Verizon network. There's 55 million Sprint subscribers approximately, and then approximately 35 million T-Mobile consumers. The Big 4 spent $12.9 billion in advertising last year. There's 97% penetration rate in the United States, so this is very much a commodity product. We still don't have a lot of value, so for most people, wireless is still wireless. There's been no growth in the past few years on postpaid activations. Postpaid meaning establish a credit check, get a monthly bill, typical wireless like what you're used to seeing. We have seen a tremendous spike on data growth. How much data are people using on their smartphones? Now, we've seen a lot of wholesale prepaid growth, and those wholesalers use companies like Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile's network. And you see those at Walmart, Radio Shack, Best Buy. Lots of big box retail stores are promoting and selling prepaid wireless. And this is nothing new, so why Solavei? What makes them any different than any of these other carriers or people that have tried it before? Lightyear-Wireless has tried it, ACN has tried it, Fortune High Tech, Liberty, and a host of other people have tried to put wireless into a direct selling opportunity. And the biggest difference, in my opinion, is their marketing efforts are just not up to par with what Solavei has done. Their price sometimes are $59.95 for a similar package, and for some MVNOs, which stands for Mobile Virtual Network Operator. Most of them have an upfront distributor cost. For some of the companies, you have to pay several $100s to get started, and you literally get a distributor kit, and that's it. Then you become a customer. Sometimes it's just a reseller. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Solavei is looking for customers first who will refer their service once they become a customer. And the focus is on long-term residuals, not front-end loading like you see in typical network marketing or direct selling companies. What makes that different is that you have long-term growth that are based on customers, not just on representatives. And I want to talk for a minute about a mobile virtual network operator versus a reseller. A reseller is somebody like me that used to sell wireless phones, and we got a little bit of commissions on the back end, but mostly we got upfront commissions, and the margins weren't as good for us. They were good up front, and we made a nice living, but the back end piece was very, very small. The wholesaler, the MVNO, buys the airtime from the big four and then resells it at a higher margin than what we were used to getting. What does that mean to you? It means residual income. And I want to talk about CDMA and GSM and why it makes a difference to you and why it makes Solavei different from their competitors. CDMA stands for Code Division Multiple Access. GSM stands for Global Service Mobile. What it means to you is that if you have Sprint and Verizon, they operate on CDMA. AT&T and T-Mobile operates on GSM. The biggest difference you're going to see is that with CDMA, if you're on Lightyear-wireless, they've done a great job promoting their services, and they're a wholesaler for the Sprint network. But if your phone goes down and you have a problem, you can't just run down to the Lightyear-wireless store and get a replacement phone very easily. You have to mail that off, or they have to mail you one, or you have to find a phone that can be provision for Lightyear-wireless. And the same thing can be said for any kind of Verizon prepaid service. It's all the same. CDMA is not as easy to transfer services to a different device than it is with GSM. They use a SIM card in AT&T and T-Mobile, and so right now you have over 140 million people, give or take, that are already using GSM technology. That is a substantial base of people that are already familiar with using a SIM card. The phones are readily available on eBay, Craigslist, and they have the ability to be unlocked with no bill payment issues. If you buy a CDMA device and there's a bill owed on it, that device is virtually a paperweight to you. You can't use it until that bill is cleared up. With a GSM phone, there can be issues, but they're very, very limited. So there's a big, big difference when you're selling prepaid or buying prepaid from a GSM provider versus CDMA. Now the contacts transfer on a SIM card very easily. There's limited downtime. Like I said, if you have a phone that goes down with GSM and your daughter owns a phone, for example, she's part of your network. Instead of being down for a couple days waiting on a replacement phone, you can literally take your SIM card, place it in a compatible device with Solavei or AT&T or T-Mobile, and you're back up and running in just a few minutes just by transferring the SIM card. And the same holds true with broken, damaged, or defective phones. Solavei has a $49.95 unlimited rate plan, and yes, there's lots of people that have it. They've even got it for less money. You know, T-Mobile even has the same $49.95 unlimited rate plan. But, this is the big but, the big question is, does Walmart pay you for referrals? Does Verizon pay you for referrals? Does AT&T? Do they have unlimited data transfer versus 100 megabytes of transfer? You'll see limited options for data, and a lot of times there's a limitation on how much 4G transfer you can get per month from most of the prepaid carriers. With Solavei, they've secured an agreement with T-Mobile where you can transfer 4 gigs of service, and if you go over that, it just goes down to 3G speeds. There's no contract or credit check, but the biggest reason that you might want to look at Solavei is, quite frankly, their marketing and their vision. The duplication they give us is made much easier in this direct selling model with a very clean website. There's no hype in their marketing materials or their videos. It's just very straightforward with no front-end loading or any other upfront cost or hidden cost. It just makes it focused on customers. But the duplication you're going to have, they've got a 6-minute video that is just unbelievable. It's the best video I've ever seen in direct selling. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go to solavei.com and check that out. They also have a 39-minute vision video that lays out their future plans. We don't know what that's going to bring. Solavei hasn't even launched yet. They have affiliate programs. They talk about those and other complementary products. Are they going to do energy? We really don't know yet. But Solavei has an incredible leadership team. They've got high-level executives from Walmart, T-Mobile, Sprint, Dr. Pepper, AOL, Metrosity, JP Morgan Chase, Louis Vuitton, Target, former FCC representatives, congressmen. These are big picture thinkers. There's a strong focus on social commerce and personal networking versus what the big brands offer. There's loyalty for referrals for the exact same service that millions and millions of people are already using. So you're not asking them to change their buying habits. Now I want to talk about a couple more reasons why you might want to consider Solavei. The compensation, the potential, and the timing. Solavei officially launches in September of 2012. It's August right now, and I've never been involved in a pre-launch opportunity. There's 100+ million users with AT&T and T-Mobile that can migrate to the Solavei service practically immediately without changing any of their buying habits. So the difference is you're not asking them to do anything different. They're already using wireless service, and 100+ million of the marketplace are already using the same service that you're providing. The difference is with a skincare company or health and wellness, they do have to change their buying habits, and a lot of times they have to increase their budget in order to buy those things because it's part of a network marketing opportunity. It's residual-based compensation due to the increased margins with the wholesale MVNO agreement. This is focused on long-term growth with customer acquisition versus front-end loading like so many network marketing companies out there. There's a focus on customer loyalty. Does Verizon, AT&T, or the big four, again, do they pay you for referrals? This is a very simple, duplicatable system to virtually eliminate your phone bill. Solavei's goal is to produce 1 million thousandaires. And what that means is they want to develop 1 million people that make at least $1,000 a month. If Solavei captures 1% of the United States market share, that will make them a $1.6 billion company. There's future products and programs. There's affiliate programs, and only time will tell what will happen with Solavei in the future. So what's the next step? Join Solavei today. Contact the person who told you about Solavei and get started immediately. Step number 1 is simply to select your device and your rate plan. Step number 2 is to become a Solavei member. And step 3 is share Solavei with your communities. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, or any of your social media accounts. And then step 4 is quite simply earn money on your referrals. Solavei is in the pre-launch phase at the time that I'm making this video, so timing is critical. Millions could possibly join Solavei in the next couple of years. And the cool thing about that is most of the customers will also be affiliates. The question you have to ask yourself is how much of $166 billion would you like to get paid on? Visit their corporate website at www.solavei.com, and I encourage you to watch the What is Solavei video. It's down at the bottom of the page. It's 6 minutes long, and as I mentioned earlier, it's the best overview video that I've ever seen. I'm literally asking people to watch it, and they're getting excited just watching the 6-minute video. If you have more questions, watch the vision video on the same website to learn more about the opportunity.